Welcome back to The Witch's Brew. I am your host, Amanda, and I'm not really sure, honestly, this was not planned. I was sitting here in my space, um, finishing up some business stuff before I went on maternity leave, and I felt very called to sit down and record this. So I guess someone out here needs to hear this. But these are my recommendations for anyone getting into any sort of energy work. And for those of you that maybe don't know, I am a professional psychic medium and tarot reader. I do collective readings online. I also do private readings as well. Um, I do tarot, um, a bunch of stuff like that. Also, not to mention the work that I do in my personal practice as a witch. So here are my recommendations. Number one, drink a lot of water, like more water than you think you need. Um, that is typically the advice that comes forward whenever I do readings for people that are in this type of energy work. Um, which there are some that do this professionally and some that this is just for funsies for them. But definitely be drinking a lot of water, um, because this is more draining than people often give it credit for, including myself. So, along with that, be sure that you are getting plenty of rest. Again, not everyone's going to be like a professional psychic medium, but it does take quite a bit of energy out of you. Um, if you think about it this way, whether you are talking directly to spirits using mediumship or a pendulum, tarot cards, oracle cards, there are, we've covered them before, there are a myriad of ways to talk to spirits. But even if you're just inviting spirits into your practice, that requires a certain level of energy from you. And because they need energy in order to manifest. And sometimes that will come from things around you, electronics, running water, certain types of stone like limestone make it easier for spirits to manifest. However, that they're also using your energy in order to do that as well. And it's, for some spirits, it takes a lot more energy for them to manifest than others. Obviously, higher level beings, it's not going to take as much energy for them to manifest. But if you're doing a lot of ancestor work and there's not many people in your lineage that are doing ancestor work, that's going to take more energy for them to manifest. So make sure that you are getting plenty of rest, drinking plenty of water, um, taking enough time in between things. Um, I've noticed personally, if I do a lot back to back to back, I get burnt out very quickly and it takes a while for me to recharge, it usually ends with me getting sick in some way. So definitely be sure that you are taking care of yourself. Doing energy work requires you to obviously tap into a lot of different energies and different types of energies. Now, again, as I stated before, during this, not everyone is going to go and be a professional, but even if you are calling spirits into your practice, or if you are doing readings for other people, even if they're friends or relatives, you are still tapping into their energy, which means you are picking up on a lot of their emotions, even their thoughts, things like that. It's not always going to be direct, but you do carry that energy with you and those emotions and feelings with you. Oftentimes, when I'm doing private readings, I will start to receive messages sometimes 2 to 3 days before I even meet the person. But definitely within like 24 hours of doing that reading for them. And I'll realize if I'm not keeping up on my cleansing practices, which I'll get to in a minute, I will start picking up their emotions and their anxieties and, you know, all of the stuff that they have going on in their brain, which I guess it at the end of the day makes for a very good reading, but also it can be very draining to be picking up on emotions, feelings, thoughts that are not yours, especially if you are very sensitive to energies, which the more you practice, the more sensitive you will become. I've also had spirits hanging around in my house, and I'll start picking up on their energy, their emotions, and that will also affect me. So, with that being said, let's talk about some techniques and some practices to help prevent some of that burnout, and prevent some of that baggage. The first thing, keep your energetic cords cut. Keep them trimmed, because every single every single conversation or interaction that you have, whether it's in person, whether it's like this through some form of media, whether it's online, even like in comment sections, like you are having an interaction and an energetic exchange with that person. And if you think about all of the people that you have interactions with throughout even a day, that is a lot of energetic cords that you are picking up on. And again, the more that you do this, the more sensitive you will become to that. And if you are not keeping those cords cut, it can get very overwhelming. If it's been a couple days since I've, cut my energetic ties, I'll notice I'm definitely a lot crankier. I'm a lot more tired. And in general, just I find it difficult to get tasks accomplished that I need to accomplish. So how I cut my energetic cords, I will call in, and I don't even know if I've talked about this on the podcast here before. I might have, but I call in my spirit team, so my spirit guides, any ancestors that I'm working with at the time, any higher level beings that I'm working with at the time. Sometimes, honestly, I'm always talking to them. So I just kind of call them in now, like, hey guys, can you help? Um, some people, or some of the beings that are really great for this, um, are the archangels. Archangel Michael, fantastic. Raphael is also coming into mind. Um, Same with Archangel Ariel. Hecate is also coming through right now, um, as well as Lilith. Really, any of the higher level beings are going to help you out with this gladly, as long as you have like a working relationship with them. So I'll call them in and I'll ask them to please cut my energetic ties, send their energy back to them, and bring my energy back to me. And then I do some sort of cutting motion. Oftentimes, I put my palms together and I swipe them away from each other. Sometimes I'll like make a pair of scissors with my hands and do it that way. Um, Sometimes I'll even snap, or I'll just like brush them, make a brushing motion away from me. It's whatever works for you. Honestly, it also depends on where I am. Obviously, if I'm in my own home, I can do pretty much whatever I want. But if I'm in a crowd of people, I don't want to draw a bunch of attention to myself by doing something extravagant, we'll say. So I usually do 3 to 4 times. I try to do it every day, if not every other day. Um, Again, I'm going to have a lot more than the average person. So you might find that you feel better after doing it just once or twice every couple of days. But I highly, highly recommend that. Someone over here keeps talking about grounding practices. So if you find yourself having trouble staying present or getting pulled in too many different directions because of the energies around you, do some grounding practices. That could look like, I personally like to use water because it helps connect me a little better. But while I'm washing my hands, I just, I try to focus on the energy of the water flowing over my hands. Um, Also, if I'm in a pinch, I'll use that as cleansing to cleanse the energies off of me. Especially, I'm also a teacher still, so like if I have a particularly bad class, I'll just like go wash my hands and try to get some of that energy off of me. Um, Touching grass, just simply going outside, sitting with nature, feeling the breeze on your skin or in your hair, going and touching a tree. Like, it sounds maybe a little silly, but it definitely does work. Um, Spending time doing something that you enjoy, that you are not like going to profit off of in any way, shape, or form. The spirits right now are warning against using media to ground, because again, you're also like you're you're making those energetic ties by consuming media, which is probably going to make it worse. Also, if you're an empath, you are likely more influenced than you maybe realize when it comes to your media consumption and the energies that are being put out there. Lately, what I have been doing is I'll sit with a cup of tea. Sometimes I'll take my son for a walk. Reading has also been really helpful because it allows me to put my phone down, turn off the TV, and just like focus on being in my body and just being with myself. Okay. Someone over here wants me to say, if there is a spirit that is kind of hanging on and, isn't, because sometimes spirits will wander in and they'll wander out, but sometimes they will try to make themselves comfortable, and they might see you as an energy source. Maybe they're looking for help, or honestly just need a place to be. However, please keep in mind that you are living and they are not. That also goes for higher level beings, because I've had it, especially first starting out. I've had situations where I had all of these higher level beings just talking. Sorry, my mic keeps going weird. Just talking in my head at all times, and I like could not get any peace and quiet, and it was very, very overstimulating. And I had to learn pretty quickly how to set boundaries. If you tell them that you need space, if you set that boundary, like, they're not going to get mad. You are the one that is living. With spirit, there's just like regular spirits, like a passing spirit on the street. If they start kind of clinging on, tell them that they need to leave first and foremost. Like, say, sorry, I cannot help you. Please leave. If they do not, which I've had clients in the past that this has happened, and the spirit would not leave, you need to call in those higher level beings and tell them, or request, I guess. It depends on how comfortable you are with them. But tell them to take that spirit out. Say that that spirit is not welcome there. You do not want it there. You asked it to leave already, and it's refused. So please take it out. Take it to the next phase of its journey, but whatever happens, take it very far away from here. Honestly, I've had to do that on many, many, many occasions. It seems like in the past month and a half, especially, the unfinished part of my basement has become a hangout space for spirits that just don't really have anywhere else to go. They don't know where to go. They just know that they see someone that they can talk to and that could potentially help them. So I've, on many occasions, as I've been going into our deep freezer to get like sausage links for breakfast, or like take meat out of the freezer, I've been confronted with a spirit who just like will not leave, and I've had to call in those higher level beings and just be like, hey, get this one out of here, because they're not leaving. It's always good to also have wards up in your home. There are plenty of ways that you can make a ward. You can simply charm something to be a ward. You can set protection bowls around. You can use water, bowls of salt, candles even. There are so many options. Honestly, if you look on YouTube or TikTok, maybe Instagram, definitely YouTube or TikTok, you'll be able to find a bunch of videos on how to make wards. I personally do, I know I need to get physical wards. I'll just be upfront and say that. But I do energetic wards on my home. Um, I did a whole episode about 2 whole episodes about cleansing and protection magic, why it's important, and different methods that I use. But I make sure I have, honestly, they're basically just energetic shields up around my house and around my property at all times. And I I tended to them every day for a couple months. I would do it as I was laying in bed about to fall asleep. And now I'm to the point where I really only need to go touch up spots on them. I don't know, every couple weeks, sometimes once a month. I do it more often when the veil is thin and when it starts getting darker sooner. I also have crystals strategically placed around my whole house that are serving as protection and serving as barriers. We actually just moved my son into a new room, and I need to outfit his new room in crystals to make sure nothing can get in because he is very, very, very sensitive. Um, but yeah, I hope this information helps. um, Thank you so much for listening, or thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.